Today on the podcast, I want to talk about how to hire salespeople. Now, the reason why is because recently, just this month alone, I've already helped two clients of mine to put together their sales team. And I think there's a couple of things that those of you who are employers of labor, so you are a business person or you're a self-employed person and you work with people that you contract your selling function out to. I think there's a couple of things that you all need to know. So, first off, I'm not going to say that there's any universal or any preferred way for hiring your sales candidates because I work with different clients and they hire their sales team differently. But I think I'm just going to use my last experience for my client who is in tech, they sell tech and training services. And so I help them interview their sales team. And so we'll just tease out some best learnings or what I think are best learnings that the rest of you who are podcast listeners can take and use in hiring your own salespeople. So the first thing that I want to say is that interviews have to be competency based, and I'll explain what that means. Okay, now in this part of the world, it's been a while since I've been in the job market, but back when I was in university, and you apply for different clubs, you apply for different associations, you apply for internships, then of course you come out, you apply for jobs. I noticed that there were two kinds of interviews, and I've spoken to some people in human resources, and yes, they have admitted that yes, there are different interview styles. Now, there is one interview style where they just try to rattle you. As per you sit down, people just they fire questions at you anyhow, because you're trying to rattle the person, you're trying to test the person, you're trying to shake them up, you're trying to get on their nerves, because people assume that when you do that, that's when you see the quality of the person. So there's that. Honestly, I don't think that that's a good way to interview for salespeople because we salespeople, we're performers. Yes, you try and rattle us. In the initial 1 or 2 minutes, we go confused, but eventually we'll find our footing. And trust me, salespeople are good performers. They will perform well to get the job. So if you're dealing with experienced salespeople, I think this tactic is not going to work. You confuse them the first minute, but after a while, they're going to figure out who is who. In fact, let me give you one particular technique that I used personally to deal with this sort of thing. By the time I was coming out of university and I realized that, now the scope be this, they want to throw you off. I started coming into interviews being on the offensive. So, for instance, I would enter into the interview and I would, I'd take my jacket off and I would come in and I'd pull my, what do you call it? This thing where you put your cuffs. I'll take my cuffs off and then I'll fold the thing twice. 1, 2. Then I'd come in, sit on the chair, and then I won't relax. I would lean forward and then look the person in the center straight in the face. So that was my own thing. Like, okay, when I want to rattle me, no problem. Me, I go be on the offensive. Bad boy offensive. So that was my own thing. And because of that, it might be a little shy, but at least it gave me a control over the interview process. Because the first thing was that somebody would try and wash me down over the interview process. And then, what again? But I would adjust, put my cuffs back on, and then sit again, lean forward, and look straight at the person who was at the head of the panel. So I am the one who was determining the agenda, how things were going to flow. Then people would always keep on blasting questions, but I decided ahead of time that I would only answer the question that was posed by the last person, and I would answer that question. Any other person that wanted to get a response, now them go to beg me. You understand? As in they're playing psychological games with me. And no wahala, myself, I go to play psychological games with you. But the point that I'm just trying to make is, those of us, we are performers. We have our ways. You want to rattle us, we will cope. We are the one that will rattle you. And that strategy never failed me. I always got called back for step 2. Although people would on the side say, oh boy, you rude, gone. As in they would tell me that, like, you're a rude guy. But that was my own way of just stepping things down. So, anyway, it doesn't work. It's a performance game. It's the person who can act well that's going to win at the end of the day. So, excuse me, to hire salespeople, don't try and rattle anybody. In fact, my fear is that in trying to rattle people, you might actually scare away somebody who might be the best performer. Don't try and rattle. So, there are different kinds of interview styles or selection processes. Another one is competency based. Competency based just means you invite the person has this, person sits down in front of you, and looking at their CV and their work history, you're actually trying to ask them questions to tease out how competent is this person. Competency just means I sabi work, I know the work, I'm the professional. So that's what you're trying to figure out when you invite the person for a competency-based interview. So my own advice is, if you're trying to interview sales professionals, all your interviews ought to be competency based. Young woman, how you did? Young man, oh yeah, sit down. Okay, your CV, and you said that you worked for so and so before. Then begin to ask them questions. Dialogue. Try and figure them out. I would say that's the best way to run a competency based interview. Now, in different parts of the world, in America and in the UK, they're now trying out different forms of interviews where, first of all, you give them a test to run before you pull them in for a competency based interview. Now, as far as I know, that works very well in tech circles. So you're trying to hire a developer, you tell all of them that, okay, all of una, first, una go sit down, una go code this assignment. Now, based on those of you who code them well, and then you come for appointment, you come for interview. Now, in the Nigeria setting, I don't know how you're going to use that kind of interview process to interview salespeople. I don't know whether you say they should go and make sales call in front of you or something. I have no idea. I haven't seen it at work. And by the way, if that's how you hire salespeople in your own organization, just let me know so that I can let's talk so I can see different things. See how you apply it in your own context. But I would say the interview process so far, I think that will give us the best way to figure out who the candidates are in front of us are competency-based interviews. So remember, the whole point of a competency-based interview is you want the person to come and sit down, and then you're trying to figure out who is this person, what is their work history, how good are they, are they truly the professional that they say they are. So that's it. Oh, and then note of caution: there is no interview process that is 100% success rate. And from the little studies that I've been seeing out there available, like Harvard Business Review and a couple of other publications, it looks as if interview processes usually turn up like a 50-50 percent rate. As per you do the interview, and the chances that you get the best candidate are 50-50, so nothing perfect. So people are always trying to, what's the word, innovate on the interview and hiring processes all the time. So while we are waiting for people in human resources and people management and all that to work on those sorts of things, because it's not a hiring people is not a sales skill, but because I'm a sales consultant, a sales coach, a business development consultant, I have an inner look, an inner working on what we should be looking at when it comes to evaluate sales candidates. So that's why some organizations invite me to sit on their panel for hiring people. But this whole hiring people, conducting interviews, it actually is a human resources thing. Human resources, personnel, stuff like that. So we'll be waiting for the personnel people to come up with the perfect process. But just know that nowadays, any which process you take, 50-50. But please let your interviews be competency based. Now, if it's a competency based interview and I'm sitting in with your organization to hire people, I personally am looking at three things in particular when I ask them questions. Now, some of you who like this whole Niger thing of you sit down and you rattle people, it might look as if I'm making friends with these people and or whatnot, and I'm being soft. No, not be say I'm doing soft. I'm actually trying to get them to relax. I want the real person to come out, and I'm trying to figure out three things. Number one, their history, because nowadays people they form all kinds of things on their CV, and the number of people that are using AI to write their CV now, oh boy, as in anyway, you see it yourself when you start trying to hire. You see it yourself. So I'm actually trying to figure out from their history which one is authentic, which one is germane, which one is the real thing. That's why I want them to relax. So, okay, hey, when you are with this, that, be ask them question. By the time they begin to fumble, you will see that, oh, okay, this one that the person is putting as a job, actually, the person maybe was like an intern, or maybe the person was doing NYSC that time, but the person no get full responsibility inside the organization. You get. So, for those of you who engage me to sit on your panels when you're hiring your sales team, you might be frustrated that look, this guy is too nice. Relax. You get what I do. I know what I'm doing. I'm trying to catch them. The place when they lie, I'm trying to catch them. The place where they're telling you the truth, I'm trying to catch them. So history, that's one thing I'm looking at. Then another thing that I'm looking at when I sit on these panels is process or philosophy. Because in Nigeria, too many people believe that sales now friendship or sales now packaging. And it's a problem because sales is not friendship. You can be doing friendship and bring lots of business from the company, but the thing is, friendship is not replicatable because friendship now who you like pass, and all of us will make friends differently. So if sales no matter of friendship, and then you hire 5 people, all of them come in, and then they begin to make friends up and down. Like, how are you going to be able to, if there's a problem, how you diagnose it? If you want to increase revenue, how are you going to increase revenue? Will you tell them go out and make more friends? Sales no be friendship. Another problem is, you know, friendship in the real sense is when you and me, like with the flow, we're on the same level. You get, but friendships are kind of mutually reinforcing. It's not as if I they take, I they take, I they take. But then when you try and do sales as friendship, and then anytime your friends see you, you're trying to squeeze something from them. You're trying to squeeze a referral. You're trying to squeeze a sale. Now, this is going to mess up your friendships. So for those of you who feel that selling a friendship, stop that rubbish. Sales no be friendship at all. Selling is process oriented. There's a process for selling. So I'm trying to figure out during the interview, what is this guy or what is this girl's process for selling? Is he or she a selling a friendship person? Or are they a selling a packaging person? Because there's some people who believe that sales na packaging. So if you want me to sell for your company, you suppose package me well. I suppose dress well, you suppose give me allowance, company car, buy me laptop, blah blah blah. So I'm not against all that because there's some companies that pay well. There's one of my clients who was paying their senior sales engineer. They're paying him close to like 700. That's if you add all their entitlements. So I'm not against that. In fact, I think that people should be paid well. But somebody who believes that sales now packaging, it's the same thing. When you want to increase sales, what do you tell the person? Oh, yeah, package more. How do you define packaging? Then how are you going to be packaging for the rest of the organization? Now, for those of you who are non-Nigerians listening to this particular episode, in Nigeria, when we say packaging, we just mean your perception, your appearance, your positioning. So you look good, you sound good, you smell good, you talk good. That's just what packaging means. But looking good, smelling good, sounding good, composure good, everything on point. It's important in selling, but it's not the main thing. So when I try to get people to relax and to calm down, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Do they have a process? Do they have a philosophy? Do they have a framework when it comes to selling? Now, I'm not even going to say that any particular process, philosophy, or framework is better than the other. I just want the person to have some sort of process. Because then, okay, we now have something that we can start to work on. We can hire the person and say, oh boy, oh girl, this part of your philosophy is not going to work in this business. This part of your framework, now so we dey do am here. Or this part of your selling, this part of your framework, this your selling habits here. We suppose tune them like this, or we suppose delete them entirely. But there's something, excuse me, there's something that we can look at. Excuse me. There's something we can look at and we can start interrogating and start making changes when we hire the person because we've been able to establish that they have a process, they have a philosophy, they have a framework. Then another thing I'm looking at when I'm sitting on your panels, I'm trying to hire salespeople for your companies, challenges. Because when it comes to sales, challenges go everly day. Sales is not like accounts. Accounting is very sorry. Accounting can be difficult, yes. But what I mean is, when from a managerial perspective, accounting is easy. Here's the book of accounts. Can you get it done, and send it back to me in the next 3 weeks? Yes, I can. Okay, no problem. After that, it's just a matter of staying on the ball. Where are my accounts? Where are my accounts? 3 weeks don't reach. Okay, thank you very much. Then the auditor will look at it. The accounts are either correct or they are not. If they are not correct, disciplinary action, or you sack the person. Bring a new accountant. But either way, excuse me, accounting, auditing, all those kinds of things is a lot easier. With sales, is different. We're dealing with personalities and people here. We're dealing with people as a resource. So, quarrel go ever lead it. Excuse me. So, the salespeople, first of all, they'll quarrel with you, Oga, that you're hiring them. They'll quarrel with you because they're coming from somewhere where they were selling before, and they feel like, no, now me be the authority, not you. So, number one, they'll quarrel with you, Oga. Then salespeople, everly go always quarrel among themselves. You have a team of five, know how they go be quarrel. If you have a team of two, forget, they will be quarrel. The only way that you won't have quarrel among sales team is if you have a sales team of one. Once you have two or more, it will be quarrel. Then they will also salespeople also quarrel with their line manager. Normal, they must be quarrel. Then salespeople also once in a while they also quarrel with a customer. It's not ideal, but these things happen. So when I'm sitting on these panels and I'm trying to interview someone to sell for your company, I'm trying to figure out how well they had these challenges. The last place that they work, what were the issues? How are they quarreling with people? How did they quarrel with Oga? When they had challenges with customer, how did they resolve it? Some of you say, how do you get people to talk about those things? Relax, don't worry. Now my specialty now my job. I know how to calm people down. I know how to calm people down. But eventually, I will get them talking. I will be able to know before we hire them, is this person a good fit for this company? Abi, this person is not a good fit. So, when I sit on your interview panels, that is what I'm helping people to try and figure out. If you want my recommendations, I'll give a recommendation. I say, okay, candidate A, okay, candidate B, okay, candidate C, yeah, maybe this one. I will give you my own interpretation. Sorry, I say recommendation. But the thing is, by virtue of me being on that panel, I want all of us, by the time we stand up and leave, to not be under any doubt that number one, we've not discovered who the real person is, we've not tested their work history, we've not tried to figure out whether they have a process or philosophy for selling, and we've not been able to test that they have um, a a disposition or a process for dealing with challenges in the workplace, dealing with challenges with authority, and dealing with challenges with customers. So it is because of all this that I strongly recommend that any interviews that any of my clients are conducting, I strongly recommend that they should be competency based. Then I also strongly recommend that the interview atmosphere should be relaxed. Relaxed doesn't mean we go to laugh, they sip palm wine. No, it just means this whole Nigeria harassing thing that people like to do. Say, oh, yeah, sir, yes, can we know you? Come on, speak up, speak up. Are you not in sales? Speak up. Are you not applying for this job? Speak up now. Sell me now. See, when you're beginning to harass people like that, I really don't think you're putting people under the best frame of mind. Also, remember, I'm trying to get them to relax so that the ones where they lie, the ones where they bobo, we can figure out the bobo. Eh? So don't tune people up. No, they wind them. Don't be raising the atmosphere high. Keep things nice and relaxed, professional on point. Oh, good morning, young lady, young man. Tell us a bit about yourself. Oh, okay, impressive. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the company. Okay, now that we're done, these are the members of the panel. We have Mr. A, Madam B, and Oga C. We're going to ask you a couple of questions around this, that. Are you okay? Shall we continue? Uh-huh. Then launch into it. Then if I'm there, give me time. Let me work my magic. Let's separate the wheat from the chaff. The people where they lie well, let's separate the liars from the honest people. But competency based and then relaxed. And remember, the goal is to get the people talking. Because if you didn't know it before, let me tell you now. Some of you have not figured it out. So let me just say it again. It doesn't matter the country. Afghanistan, Australia, Nigeria, Ghana, America, wherever. Salespeople are good performers. If you didn't catch it the first time, let me say it again. Salespeople are good performers. They will say anything to get the job. You hear me? They will say anything to get the job and they will convince you. They'll perform well. So, your interview process should be aimed at discovering these people's true colors before you hire them. If you hire them first and then you quarrel after 2 months, you have wasted your own time and you have wasted your own money for salary and all that. So, discover their true colors before you hire them. Oh, by the way, if you'd love to connect with me, you can call me, send me a text message or a WhatsApp message on 080-6466-2140. If you're interested in the 15-minute sale audit, WhatsApp me on the same number, 080-6466-2140. So, back to what we're talking about. Then, timing. Put time in between the interviews because some of you are trying to save time because interviews can be a hassle. I understand. So because of that, some of you try and interview back to back to back. The last people that I worked on, they put 30 minutes and they did it back to back. And I said, okay, 30 minutes. The guy said yes now. That don't want to be efficient. Back, back, back. You know, it's a tech company, like I said. And you know how tech bros and tech sisters like to be. Everything efficient, everything on point. You know, they forget that human being no be machine. We're not machines. So accident they happen, delay they happen, all kinds of things. Funny thing is, for this particular client, the delay was now on their own part, not even on the candidate's part. As the candidate show up on time, 5 minutes before, ready. The guy wears suits, everything. The guy they ready. We now have to start making excuses. Oh, sorry, we're waiting for this. We're putting house in order. I mean, come on. So, yes, we expect these people to show up on time, but then don't do things back to back because when you do back to back, with no breathing room in between. By the time you fumble the first interview, you go over, then every other thing too will now just scatter. And that's exactly what happened. The first one didn't start on time, we went over by 10 minutes, and then guess what happened? Every other person, back to back to back to back to back, everything just got thrown off. So put time. How many minutes is ideal? I have no idea. Because I'm not a human resources expert, I'm not a hiring expert. So I don't know if you should be putting 15 minutes. So like maybe if you interview the first person from 10:30 till 11:30, then maybe you give 15-minute gap. So the next interview will now start at 10:45 and continue till 11:15. Then you give them 15-minute gap. Then the next one will now start at 11:30 and run until 12. You understand? Well, that back to back to back to back thing, that thing never works. Doesn't work. So don't do it. Any small mistake from their part, from your own part, you just throw everything off. Delays, they normally happen. Emergency, they normally happen. Putting your house in order, they normally happen. These things happen. So it happens. Back to back doesn't work. Then let's see what else. By the way, I really think 30 minutes is too short. Because remember, I'm trying to get these people to talk. What's their history? Let's interrogate that. Do they have a process? Do they have a philosophy? Let's interrogate that. How do they deal with workplace challenges, challenges with colleagues, challenges with authority, and difficulties with customers? How do they handle that? Let's interrogate all these things well. So, quite frankly, for me, I think 30 minutes is not enough if we're talking salespeople. So, the person that I just helped them out with this 2 days ago, I told them, now look, for the next round, me alone, I don't know about other interview panel members, me alone, just give me 20 minutes with these people. I need to figure them out. But anyway, since they're tech bros, and I always try to, well, at least in the beginning, work onto the client's specifications, and they told me what they had in mind. They said that each panel member is only going to ask 3 questions, so I should write my questions ahead of time. I say, write my question ahead of time. They say yes. I said, okay, no problem, because they wanted everything to be objective, and they had a scoring metric and everything. I said, okay, no problem. I submit my question. So now I begin to think. What kind of questions am I going to ask? Because remember what I'm trying to tease out. I'm trying to tease out their history. Which part is true? Which part is fake? I'm trying to tease out their process or their philosophy. Do they actually believe that selling is a process? Do they have a process? Do they have a system? Do they have philosophy? Do they have a framework? Or do they believe that sales and friendship, sales and packaging? Then I'm also trying to tease out how they deal with challenges in the workplace. So I say, I'll go now couch this kind of question that will help me tease out all this information. So I came up with three questions. Now, I'm not putting them here to recommend to any of you that these are the best questions to ask. I'm just trying to tell you that, look, with the constraints that I had, that they say 30 minutes, and we should only ask three questions each. Okay, no problem. I had to come up with something. So my first question was this. Tell us about the recent complex deal you won. From the first time you spoke to them until the time the contract was signed, what steps or systems did you use to figure out their problems, and when did you know for sure that the deal was going to happen? So, summary, that was my first question to all of them. What complex deal have you worked on? Gist us from the first time you spoke to that guy until you closed the deal. What system did you use to close this deal? And how did you know? What's the thing that gave you confidence that this deal go close? So that was my first question. So of course, obviously, you guys can see that I'm trying to tease out a couple of things. Like I said, history, process, philosophy, challenges. So that's my first question. The second question I asked all the candidates was, you are going to be selling software and training services here. How do you change your approach when you're selling a technical tool versus when you're selling a training program? And how do you convince a budget conscious boss that soft skill training is worth the money? So I repeat, by the way, see, there's also this problem with you will only answer three questions. So the questions now have to be comprehensive, volume, boku, uh, and tease out lots of strands. So I was now asking the people that, look, these people that you're interviewing for, they sell software and they sell training. I wanted to figure out whether they can appreciate or whether they think there's a difference between selling software versus selling training. I also wanted to figure out their approach. Will their approach change? And then also wanted to see how they are going to deal with people who say, no be training. Training, no be talk. No, this your bill is too expensive. I wanted to see how they would deal with people who customers like that. Then the final question that I asked them was, tell us about a time that a big prospect stopped responding to you or told you your price was too high. What specific moves did you make to get them back to the table without looking desperate? And what did that experience teach you about handling high pressure sales? So, question number three, summary. I was just trying to tell them that, look, when was the last time when you were talking to an oga or a madam, and then madam ghosts you, she know the pick call. And so because she know the pick call, what did you do to make madam start, talking again, start having a conversation again? What did you do? That was a summary of what I was trying to test them with those questions. So I'm not saying that these are the best interview questions to ask, but I'm just sharing my experience that, okay, since they say three questions, okay, well, I had to send something, so that's what I sent. Then also, I also couldn't ask follow-up questions. So based on whatever response they gave me, that's not I had to try and judge them. Okay, history. Do they actually have a history of selling? Process. Okay. Did they actually have a philosophy? Or maybe they are just doing anyhow when it comes to sales? And then challenges. Okay, how do they work with difficult situations? Those are the questions. Okay, sorry. I was scrolling through my phone. Yeah, so this is how the candidates performed. I'm not going to use their real names, of course. And I'm not going to say a summary of what they said. But there was one guy. Let's call him, what we call him now? Let's just say Mr. A. Okay. So the first guy, Mr. A, they were all men, by the way. So the first guy, Mr. A, I guess he was all right. But my impressions about him, and I told my clients, was that the guy doesn't have a formal system. He doesn't have a formal framework for selling. He's just one of these people who they do what's that thing now? Like attitude, like by force, like anyhow, I'll close this deal, you know. effort, strength, brute strength, that kind of thing. So I just had time that look, this guy no get process. His own is just by force by fire. We'll make this thing happen. Now those people are good because those kind of people they don't get tired. They don't get. It doesn't matter what happens. Is it raining? They're on the move. Is the sun shining? They're on the move. Is the customer rude? They're on the move. Is the customer pleasant? They're on the move. Those people are good because any which way, then they go, then they move, then they move. Steady, just like trailer, always on the move. So I told them, look, if you work with this guy, no problem. It's just that he's going to need lots of leads at the end of the day because he's going to need high volume because he's just going to keep plowing through leads. So yeah, if you hire him, yeah, just know that's the kind of person that you're dealing with. And the second person, Mr. B. Mr. B, who is a typical relationship selling, typical relationship guy. So the guy just drop names anyhow. In fact, after we're done, my client said that the guy was talking like an Abuja contractor, and that's how Abuja contractors are. Oh, the last time when I was with the president, last time when I was with Wike, last time when I was a minister, last time when I was a senator, so and so, and da 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 da. So the guy just a drop name, anyhow, 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 anyhow. Now so we do millions, we do millions here, Kano, do million, Kaduna, this project, that project, that kind of talk. So I tell them that look, this guy also doesn't have a process. He's a relationship seller. So if you work with somebody like this, yeah, no problem. Just know that you need to give this person time because for him, sales now friendship. So you need to give him time to be doing his friendship relationship up and down before one or two things go close. Oh, that's also another thing with friendship sales because now friendship, you can't really. Yeah, selling cannot be on a predictable timeline. Let me just put it that way because now friendship. So I told her, okay, yeah, and that's the guy. And then last person, Mr. C. Mr. C. I was, from my own opinion, I was able to give a recommendation that okay, look, out of the three people, he's the one that I like, or he's the one that I will endorse because he understands that selling is a process. He has a process. And I told my client that if you remember, when answering the questions, he kept repeating a certain kind of formula. In fact, let me look for my notes. Where is that note? So, one moment. I'm looking for my physical note when we had the conversation with the people. There's something he kept on repeating. So, this was the formula that candidate C kept on repeating. Candidate C kept on talking about target, talking about champion, and talking about follow up. He kept on saying it: target, champion, follow up, target, champion, follow up. Not in that particular order, but this is me summarizing: target, champion, follow up. Now, the idea behind targeting is this: I've been saying on the podcast for a very long time that sales begins with your ICP, your ideal customer profile, your target audience, your target avatar, your target whatever, the people who you do the best amount of business with. That is where sales starts. You need to know who it is that you're chasing after before you start any sales process. It's like trying to find a spouse, for instance. You can't say, oh, I want to find husband, I want to find husband. Because of that, you start talking to all kind of men. No be so. Oh, I want to find wife, I want to find wife. Because of that, you're talking to all kind of women. No be so. You need to have a target audience. There's some people who want Mary Amaka. If you want Mary Amaka, good. You now know the places to go to find the Mary Amaka so that you can marry. There's some people who are looking for a sophisticated young lady. Okay, sophisticated young lady, no problem. Now you know where you're supposed to go and start looking for those kinds of people. Or there's some young women who say, I'm looking for a provider. I'm looking for an odogu. Now that you have odogu in mind, you now know the kinds of places that you have to go to start looking for those people. And some people say, look, I don't want stress. I'm looking for a homebody, a stay-at-home dad, something, something, something. With that in mind, it will now inform the places that you go to go and start looking for that kind of husband or that kind of wife. So it's the same thing in business. As a salesperson, number one is who is the target audience? Is when we know who they are that we'll now know that, oh, okay, we'll be going to the market, or we'll be going to networking session, or we'll be running advertisements on Google, or we'll be spending time on LinkedIn, or we will be sending proposals to Federal Ministry of Finance, or whatever. But it's from figuring out who the target audience is that will start this journey. So I appreciated that this young man, candidate C, knew that anyhow, targeting now key part of the formula. Now, somebody like this now that has a process, targeting, champion, champion, and then follow up. You can see that if you are the gas and performance no day, you can sit down with him and you can start asking questions. Okay, target audience. Are we really correct? Are we looking at the right people? The guy will say his own that yes, I think these are the right people because then the guy will give reason, the guy will give justification. If the thing makes sense, okay, no problem. We'll move on to the next step. But if the justification make sense, you now say, okay, bro, you know what? Yes, I can see why you thought that this was the ideal customer audience, but you're fishing in the wrong pond. We actually should be looking at this kind of individual, this kind of individual. You see, boys, because candidacy in get process, no be friendship, no be packaging, and the process now targeting, champion, follow up. Now, champion is like a how do I put it, like a slang in sales. The idea behind the champion is whenever you're trying to sell into an organization, if you have somebody who is your guy, somebody who is your inside man, somebody who is your supporter, you go make the job a lot easier. So, um, I'm not saying all of you should go around having champions or looking for champions, but I'm just trying to say that this young man in candidacy, he had a process. Step one was identify the company. Which company are we going after? Step two was let me enter the company. Let me see if I can find a champion, find an ally, find a partner, find a supporter, find an inside man, find an inside woman, find a whatever it is you want to call it. You see where I'm heading. But he had a process. Target, are we in the right company? Step two, champion. Can I find me a champion? Now, this kind of person now, if there's problem, you can see that we can start breaking things down. Okay, no problem. Who is your champion? And you only have one champion. Why now? You're supposed to get two or three. Okay, the people that you say are your champion, what level of authority do they have in the organization? This person no get access now. So even though this person likes you, the person no get access. And the person will not get access is not going to be able to help you close the deal. If you have a champion, but the champion is not in the corridors of power, that champion is useless. He no go help you in any way. That kind of champion, who he help? Nobody. So you can start breaking it down. You have a champion, but indeed, is your champion a correct champion? Does the guy have access? Is he a useful somebody? Which kind connects? Which kind introductions the person can make for us? You can start breaking it down. Okay, target, we did a good job. Okay, champion. All right, let's look at this champion thing here. Then you can now have the question about single threading versus multi-threading. Now, when you're trying to sell into an account, single threading is when you only know one person inside the company. Single threading is a recipe for failure. No, you can. Okay, let me not say it's a recipe for failure, but Brian Tracy says that it's about increasing your statistical odds. You don't increase that the odds will be in your favor if you're trying to sell into an organization and you only know one person there. I have given regular listeners will remember the story of a time when I was trying to sell into one organization. And the moment I entered there, I saw that the CEO was a thief boy just like me. So I started doing my brother, as per, thief boys now. Because it's not all the time that we're out in the field that we jam ourselves. When we jam ourselves, there's always an event like, you're a thief guy too. Ah, correct. Ah, you're even from my father's village. Oh boy, how now? Blah, blah, blah. And you just flow. So I turned it up. I really turned it up. My brother. Then I knew the programs officer. That's how I entered into the organization. Programs officer. Then CEO. My brother. Then they were going to bring in another member of the team who was going to start running things for the company in Makudi. They were trying to expand into Makudi, into the north central part of the country, using Makudi as a starting point. And of course, me and the lady were already connected on LinkedIn. So I said I go run relationship again, like that. Then I also knew somebody who was in the programs department. Yeah, programs department. Apart from the programs officer, another person was actually working in communications, the communications department. So as I try and enter that company now, you can see that I knew three people well. Then I knew one person, internet. Not as if I know her like that. So some of you will think that's okay now. You try selling to the organization. Three people, you know them well. One person, CEO, my brother. The next person, programs officer. He's the one that introduced me to the company. So now my guy, I know him. Then the next person, communications department. As per I use networking moves to make that one my friend. And that's why I like physical. And that's why I say, physical is the highest when it comes to uh, communications hierarchy. It is because I used to go to the office to say, how far? Yemi there around, he there on seat. That was the programs guy. It's because I used to go in there physical to see Yemi that one day I happened to catch CEO was around. So I enter CEO office and then next thing, you're even my brother self, my brother. See, physical. And then it's from there, Yemi day sits. No. Oh, okay. Right, no Allah. I'll sit and wait. And then next thing, lady from communications department cross by. They say, oh, you're the famous Tarishima. And I may be this so. And then from there we start yarning. You see, physical. Where it is worth it. Because problem of physical is, you go waste money, small. You enter bus, you go do bolt or you buy fuel. And right now fuel is 1,300 per liter. Man, that thing is crazy. You go to filling station, you pump 50,000. You didn't even reach half of your car. That thing is mad. Honestly, mad. That 50,000 won't even put you in half tank. Anyway, what was I? So in that case now, you will say that those people now are my champions. What happened to my champions? The CEO that was saying my brother, the guy Jackpa on short notice. So it looks like he was already planning on this Jackpa thing. So the thing click overnight. The guy just evaporate. So the company was in disarray. Was now looking for a new CEO because my brother just Jackpa. The guy say Niger too harsh. So the guy moved one time with his whole family. Pia, carry everybody. Then, Yemi, my friend now, programs officer. What happened? The guy went for postgraduate study. Straight. Japan. He was now doing postgraduate in sorry, not postgraduate, PhD, Abi? PhD na postgraduate. Anyway, he was doing PhD in Japan. I can't remember on international development or something like that. That's how Yemi moved the next month. Okay, so my brother, the guy Jackba, then my guy Yemi, in go school, go and in the pursue PhD. Then the person in communications department now, what happened? She left the company. I went to go and work for a rival company like that. So that's how a company that I thought my hand was strong because I know CEO, I know programs officer, I know the person in the communications department. I thought my hand was strong. In 2 months, I lost my folding, my holding. 2 months, I lost my footing in the organization. Could not run anywhere again. Now, so everything just paralyzed, grind to a halt. So now you see why multi-threading is important. You want to have a champion, you want to have internal contacts, no problem. You can't say you know one person and you're good. You can't say you know two people and you're good. In fact, like that my example showed. In fact, that's my worst nightmare. You can't say because I know three people, all is well. But I say that in Nigeria all the time. You say, the MD of that company, him and my father are best friends. Therefore, it's a done deal. Who said? Who said it's a done deal? Even though in a Popsy's friend, like 5 and 6, who said it's a done deal? You only know one person. But we see that all the time. Anyway, sorry, forgive me. So, what I'm trying to say is that this person had a process. Target, do we have the right company? Uh, Champion, can I get us a champion? Then relentless follow up. So it's a rudimentary process, but at least now it's a process. We can interrogate it. If there's a problem, we can figure it out. We can fix it. We can make something happen. So that's the reason why I said, look, candidate C is the person that I'll put my money behind, and if you're going to work with him, you should bring somebody in to train them well. Oh, by the way, when I make those recommendations, if I work for you, sorry, excuse me. If I make those recommendations, it would be nice if that person is me, but it doesn't have to be me anyway. The thing is, you brought me in, you've paid me for my work, I've done my work, I've asked the questions, I'll make my recommendations, and then the the rest is up to you. But in this case, honestly, especially the way Nigeria is, eh, you can work with any of these people. But for me, I put my money behind Mr. C. because he has a process. If he's trained up, we can we can make it work. So this is just a summary of my different ideas when it comes to hiring. I've made other kinds of podcast episodes about how if you're going to hire a salesperson, you need to hire a salesperson with an internal locus of control. Person is self motivated. What else? Person takes personal responsibility for actions and failures, and different kinds of things I've spoken about. So if you just look for the older episodes, if you just like if you're listening to this on YouTube, by the time you're done, if you use the podcast name, my own name, and then search with a few key terms like hiring salespeople or something, you're able to come up with those other episodes. But Sha, excuse me, this is a summary of some of my ideas around hiring salespeople. So applying these principles can be tricky, but if you need me to look at your own particular company, that's not a problem. You call me, send me a text message or a WhatsApp message on 080-6466-2140. You want me to talk about any part of your business process or hiring process, then call me, send me a text message or a WhatsApp message on the same number, 080-6466-2140. So that's it, and that is all for today. So thank you very much for your time and attention. And if you are like these two clients of mine that I helped in this current month of April, you're hiring a sales team, you're onboarding a sales team. I wish you best of luck, and everything will turn out well, so long as you remember that this sales team that you're going to hire, just remember you have to train them. You don't bring in salespeople and say, "Oh yeah, go and sell." Now you don't have to look for expensive consultants like me, but if you are the founder of the company, whatever, you have selling experience, you need to have that conversation with them where you tell them, now look, these are our ideal customers. This is how we target them. This is how we start conversations with them. This is how we build relationships with them. This is how we move the deal forward. This is how we build a proposal. This is how we make an effective presentation. When we make the presentation, these are the closing techniques that we use. When we are done closing, this is how we try to secure referrals. Have that conversation with them. And by the way, it shouldn't be one conversation. So my client in the solar space just did his own onboarding, and for them it was an internal 5-step process. Okay, so actually they came in I think a few days before the day was supposed to start. They just set them up. Oh, yeah, here's your company phone, here's your company laptop, here's this, here's that. And then Monday resumption, day one. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it was training covering all these sorts of things. So just make sure you hire your people and you should do okay. Oh, and then keep looking for resources like my own podcast, other podcasts to listen to. They'll also give you other ideas about how you can train up your sales team. So that's it for today. I'll catch you some other time.